You may not know that, I've been the principal at Windsor Middle School for 5 years, but I'm also a parent in this district. And so I do try to look at all of our communication processes through two different lenses. One, as a school administrator trying to communicate with parents, and then two, what works for me as a parent. And I know I'm a very small sample size, but what I really appreciate is the ability to find the information when I need it. So that's one of the things that we've attempted to do by putting everything on the school's webpage. And where you'll find it is under the news sections or under the events sections. That's where you'll always be able to find the latest information. And so when I send links out to the community about the updates, I'm always linking back to the web page, so you know that's always where you can find the information. So we are on our news page right now, and you'll see that the #1 news story is the return to school informational meeting, which we're doing right now. We have information for the 6th grade orientation, which is happening tomorrow for 9 a.m. for cohort 1 and 9:45 for cohort 2. We will be giving the students as they come in an ID card, and if they're going to be on-campus learners and they have not received a Chromebook, we'll be issuing them a Chromebook at that time as well. For students who reported to us that they have, that the 7th and 8th grade students who reported to us that they still need a Chromebook, I've emailed all of those families and let them know that they can come pick up their Chromebooks in the afternoon. Please check the email for the times depending on what grade you are in. So 6th grade orientation can be found here. The return to school schedule is also up here. It's a link to a Google Sheet. And then the weekly updates are, I've left all the ones from March up if you want to go back and look at some of the information. So I'm going to go to the meeting that we're in now, which is that. I'm going to go ahead and play for you this video, mostly because it's pretty cool. We brought a drone out to make the video.
At Windsor Middle School, keeping staff and students safe and healthy is an essential part of building strong schools for a strong community. We have implemented new procedures and installed state-of-the-art equipment in each of our classrooms. The enhancements we have made meet and often exceed the current California State Department of Public Health school reopening protocols. Our site has submitted a COVID safety plan that has been inspected by county health officials and is in compliance. Come inside and see what we are doing to protect our students and staff as they return to school. Our reception areas are the first line of defense for school. Plexiglass barriers are in place on surface counters, and everyone must wear a mask. All students and staff are screened before they come on campus through our at-home screening survey. We help students remember to keep a safe distance with our directional arrows in our hallways and friendly staff guidance. The campus is divided to provide separate areas to ensure that stable groups do not mix while on break and if they are staying for lunch. Hand washing stations are located in each of the areas along with bottle filling stations. Additionally, hand sanitizing stations are available in each classroom. We have modified our classrooms to allow students to learn in the same room together. All of our desks have been distanced 6 feet apart. We also have an ample supply of PPE available. We have doubled the number of staff on our facilities team while students are on campus, and they have been given the training to keep our classrooms and offices safe and clean. Cleaning is done in each classroom and office frequently, and daily enhanced cleaning is done throughout the day, focusing on high-touch, high-traffic areas. Each classroom is equipped with a camera to ensure that students who are remaining on distance learning have access to high-quality live instruction. Our teaching staff will remain available via Zoom every afternoon for office hours to answer questions and provide support. While every student on campus is expected to bring a fully charged, school-issued Chromebook, loaner Chromebooks will be available for checkout. While most students will go home at the beginning of the lunch period, Sixth grade students who have music classes will be able to stay and attend their music class after lunch. Additionally, some students in both general ed and special education will be enrolled in an additional in-person support class after the lunch break. Our facilities team has stocked our supply closets with the essential equipment that we need to ensure that we have a constant, stable supply. The HVAC filters are being replaced, and each classroom is equipped with room filtration systems to ensure that the air is clean and healthy. We are in this for the long haul, with safety policies and procedures in place and supplies stocked at our sites ready for use. This is all part of our mission to our students and staff to build strong schools for a strong community.
All right. So, and that, once again, if you need to reference back to that or share that, it's on the YouTube channel. It's also on the school's website under news. You can find that video. I also posted it to Facebook. So I know one of the questions that I'm sure is going to come up is, what is it going to look like for my child who is in-person learning? What is it going to look like for my child who is in-person learning but not on their cohort day? What is it going to look like for my child who is staying on distance learning? So let me start from the top with, if you are in-person learning, you're coming on your cohort day. So if you are in cohort 1, you're coming in on a Monday and Thursday. If you are in cohort 2, you're coming in on Tuesday and Friday. Wednesday remains asynchronous for all students. If you need to refer to the schedule, it's on the website under the news section for the specific times. Your child will come on. We're asking that your child, as part of our code of conduct, just to keep kids safe, that they arrive no sooner than 10 minutes before their scheduled start time. Please note that 6th grade starts at a different time than 7th and 8th, and that's to keep those stable groups separate. So arrive at your no sooner than 10 minutes before your start time. We'll ask students to go directly to class in the morning. Teachers will be there waiting for them. They'll bring them in. We currently have the class size capped at around 15 or 16 students. That's because we're still operating under the 6-foot requirements, but County Health has adopted the 3-foot requirement. So that may change, particularly as we go into the red zone, just meaning that we would be able to accommodate more families who wish to switch cohorts, because we'll be able to allow more students in each room. And so breakfast or break will happen after that first block. Breakfast will be provided to all students. There's no need to pay. It's part of the free and reduced lunch program for all students have access to being able to get it, so they can grab and go and grab a snack. We'll be supervising students in each of their areas. So 6th grade will have a different break time than 7th and 8th, but they'll stay up in the 6th grade wing. 7th grade will stay in their area, which is, if you know the campus, it's the E wing along the south side of campus. And then the 8th grade will be in the D wing, which is on the northeast, southwest side of campus. So we'll have hand washing stations, the restrooms available, bottle fillers, and then of course the breakfast, which can be picked up at no charge. So that break will last approximately 15 minutes. They'll go to their next period. If you're in 7th and 8th grade, you are mixing classes in those next periods, but you are staying part of your stable group. 6th grade will go to their they have mixed between just their 2 core teachers. So those teachers might be changing up the schedule a bit because they have more freedom and flexibility. Now, you're part of your stable group. If you're like 7th grade cohort 1, that's a stable group. 8th grade cohort 2, that's a stable group. The stable groups will sometimes be impacted if a child's going to a mixed grade class like an elective. And so what we have provided is an additional custodian during the day to come in and help with extra cleaning on those classes that have the mixed cohorts. as well as if there's a shared material class like PE, where they might be passing a ball back and forth. One of the things that the video mentioned was that students would be taking a survey before they come on campus. That's even changed since 2 hours ago. So they're no longer going to be required to take a survey, but we will be listing all of the symptoms on the front page of the website for families to do a self-screening to know that if they're exhibiting any of those symptoms, to go ahead and stay home from that day, on that day, and attend class virtually. So that's what it looks like during the day. They'll finish off their classes. If they're staying for music class, or they're staying for, if they're in 6th grade and staying for a music class, or if they're in 7th and 8th grade staying for a support class, we will supervise them during lunch, but they will be required to bring their own lunch. At that point, they will do their, if they have an afternoon class, they'll stay, attend their afternoon classes, and go home. If they do not have an afternoon class, then they're free to leave at that time. So the big question is what happens on their non-cohort day? Well, the big answer is it depends. Because if you're in your 6th grade, then you're either in person or you're at home, and they're just doing this. They're doing lesson 1 on Monday, lesson 2 on Tuesday, lesson 3 on Thursday, lesson 4 on Friday. And that will be true for many of the 7th and 8th grade classes. However, certain classes like PE will be handling things differently. They'll either have in-person or asynchronous. And classes like science, if they're doing a lab, they'll be waiting for the students to come in person in order to do the lab so they can actually have that hands-on experience. Now, if you're one of the families that are staying home for the rest of the year, that's fine. You'll just, on the day that you were supposed to attend the lab, then you would just go ahead and log in at that time, and then the teacher will make adjustments as best as he or she can in order for that student to be able to participate. Now, at this moment, no teachers on campus have actually taught a class in person and online at the same time. So it is going to be a bit of a learning curve. Plus, they have technology that was just provided for them that they've only had for a couple of days. So they're still getting that figured out as well. If you decide to come back in person and change your mind, that's fine. You can always attend via distance. It's the same attendance if you come in person or if you just watch via Zoom, or if you're someone who has decided that you want to stay home for the year but you change your mind. We have already scheduled your student to be on campus in person, so there is no schedule changes required. We can just begin to have the child come back on campus with no issue. So we did build the system for maximum capacity, so that way, if everyone decided that they wanted to come back, then we could accommodate everyone. So question is what are the rules for around picking up your child does not need to stay after the extra class? So our parent pickup will remain open. We're going to ask the students to make sure that they're continuing to wear their masks if they're waiting for their parents to stay 6 feet apart. And we're asking parents to remain in the car, in their vehicles, if they're picking up. If you need to pick up on foot, then we're asking that you make arrangements to pick up on someplace other than the front of the school, like the park or along Foothill Boulevard. So if you have any questions, please feel free to type them into the chat or go ahead and turn that mute off and you can ask them in person. And as I said, I'll continue to answer the questions as long as we have questions all the way up until 5:30. Wow, I feel like I did a fantastic job of explaining everything.
Hello.
Hello.
My son, my son has 7th grade honors English, which I understand is after lunchtime.
Mhm.
So where does he go for that 3rd period block? Like, what does he do during that time since he doesn't really have a class?
So you have a couple of options, and I'll just broaden it out for anyone who doesn't have a first period or a third period. You can come late or leave early, but we will also be providing a study hall area in the library, which will be supervised by me and the librarian. And so if that's a time to get work done, they'll be able to go in during that time. But then you're also able to leave campus if it's okay with the family. So the question, some of the other questions are, should all students have a school issued Chromebook? Yes, well, actually not necessarily. If you are in person and you're bringing the Chromebook on campus, then yes, it needs to be a school issued Chromebook, and we'll be doing Chromebook distribution on Friday, tomorrow. If you can't make it on Friday, then we'll be doing it on Monday or Tuesday, depending on what day your child comes to school. Once we get all the Chromebooks issued to the students who are returning for in-person learning, then we'll start collecting the Chromebooks from that are the old Chromebooks and issuing the new Chromebooks to all students. Sorry, changing as I'm reading. Do all graders need a, so if someone can type in the rest of all 8th graders need a in there. If you don't have a first period, as I said, you can just come later in the day, or you can definitely work on homework in the library. Do students attend Zoom on their non-cohort days? So if you're in 6th grade, most likely. If you're in 7th and 8th grade, check with the teachers, because some of the lessons they're holding for in-person learning, like if they're going to have a debate or if they're going to do a lab, but it'll kind of be a mix. You should expect that you are doing school during that 3.5 hours of school time each and every day. Will work assignments still be assigned periods 4 through 6 month of April? No, we are actually spending twice the amount of time in periods 1 through 3 in the month of April, and then spending twice the amount of time in periods 4 through 6 in the month of May. So we're basically shrinking 2 months of curriculum into 1 month in April and 2 months into 1 month in May. And we did that to ensure that the students could actually return and be with their teachers twice a week. Because if we would have done all 6 periods, they would have only seen them once a week. And we didn't feel that that was really justified, all the things that you would have to do to get them here if they could only see their teacher one time at this age. At high school, it might be more appropriate. 6th graders will be asynchronous on the days that they're not on campus, or they'll be Zooming on those days. So 6th grade will be Zooming on those days with their teachers. So the teacher will have the camera turned on. Lesson 1 is on Monday, lesson 2 is on Tuesday. And so they're expected to be participating every day, either in person or online. Can a 6th grader with a music elective leave campus before lunch and complete music class through Zoom or in-person days, thus eliminating the 2 pickups with both 7th and 8th graders? Attending anything via Zoom is definitely acceptable, but if there's any way that we can help support getting them on campus and staying for in-person music, we definitely want to help do that. Meaning if I can house the 7th and 8th graders somewhere where they can do homework time in the library so the 6th grader can stay for music, we definitely could work with that. If you did not, if you did not receive the email and you need one, please email, let's see if I can send this to everyone. I'm putting this in the chat. It's Maddie Cleaver at WUSD.org, and she'll make sure you get put on the list. Will teachers be sending new Zoom links? If so, how? If there are new Zoom links, they will be put in the Google Classroom. So everything dealing with classes will be happening through the Google Classrooms. And 6th grade orientation is tomorrow. The announcement has the date February 2nd. Well, it's definitely tomorrow. It should be April 2nd. And then where will each group PE class take place? That will depend on the teacher. They do a rotation, so every week they have a different spot that they're doing PE, but the PE teacher will tell them where to go. And will be the same 8th graders that they are asynchronous on non-Zoom. Will it be the same for 8th graders that are asynchronous on non-Zoom days? It really depends on, as I said, the teachers. I know the science teachers are planning on doing synchronous days and asynchronous days, but just expect that the 3 hours that you're available to log in, if the teacher says that that's the plan. 6th graders are having PE in person. They have their own schedule where Mr. Whitney will just come pick. If you have like Mr. Daniel and Mrs. Mulligan, he's going to come pick up both of those cohorts together and then take them out to do PE for an hour and then bring them back, and then he'll go and get the next group and then go and get the next group. All right, if I missed one of your questions, if you could just repost it, but they were coming fast. Have you ever gone to the store and picked a water bottle because you liked it and then found out it was $55, but you were too embarrassed to look cheap that you went ahead and paid for it? Yeah, that was me today. Oh, now it's changing. Do 6th graders have to come and get an ID if we are continuing doing distance learning? No, you do not. Does 6th grader have to come and get it? Oh, so no, you do not. And no dressing down for PE, that is correct. And that's for all grades, 6th, 7th, and 8th. We're not opening the locker rooms because there's no way to maintain social distance. And what time is the Chromebook distribution tomorrow? It depends on what grade you're in. So if you received the email, if it's 6th grade, it's happening on the time of your orientation, which will either be 9 or 9:45. And then with 7th and 8th grade, I believe, if I can find it, it is 12 to 1 for 7th graders and 1 to 2 for 8th graders. Or they can pick them up on Monday or Tuesday, depending on what cohort they are in. Will the campus be open for new 6th graders to walk around tomorrow afternoon? Yes. So anytime, literally afternoon, the campus is open to go ahead and find the classes and take the tour, find out where the bathrooms will be available, where they'll have their break time, all of that. I'll be out there helping everyone find where they need to go, as well as our campus supervisors and our leadership teacher. Just wondering, have you spoke about students who are not attending in person, what they need to do? So everything will be in your child's Google Classroom. So if they're not attending in person, then they'll just click the Zoom link and they'll be watching the class live via one of those swivel devices that was in the video. It's pretty cool. The teacher wears a microphone, so they'll be able to hear, no matter where the teacher is in the room. There's 2 additional microphones that have been placed in the room, so you can hear if students are asking questions or giving answers. And then the camera actually follows them as they move throughout the room. So it's a little bit like being in class. And then we've been working to make sure that they're using their share screen on Zoom. So if they're not writing on the whiteboard, that they're actually using their document camera, doing the share screen. So what the students are seeing in class is the exact same thing as what the students are seeing at home. But with the caveat of no one's actually done this for real yet. So it's going to be a bit of a learning curve next week. Will there be campus maps available with teachers' rooms located? Yes. Will the seventh and eighth graders be getting new ID cards? Sorry if I already mentioned that. I was late to the meeting. We have the ID cards. I think we have a system that we're going to be doing for passing them out. The reason why we're giving, they don't really actually need their ID cards, but we wanted to make the sixth graders feel special. So we got them all lanyards and their ID cards, so they can feel like middle schoolers. That's the main reason why we're passing them out on tomorrow for the orientation. Yeah, they never got their tour. I'm sure those of you who are sixth grade parents know they never got their tour last year. They didn't get sixth grade camp this year, but we are planning on at least a day trip up to Armstrong Woods next year for seventh graders and another one for eighth graders because they didn't get their trip either. All right. Do we have any other questions? I want to thank you all for everything you're doing. Oh, thank you. Yeah, and I want to just apologize to all the parents. Like normally I'm way ahead on communication and just want to tell everyone everything. But it seriously has been changing day by day, hour by hour. And I felt it was going to be more confusing if I came out early. But then it ended up being that it was, late on the Chromebook distribution and those types of things. So I promise by the next pandemic, we will have this locked down and just be super smooth. Eighth graders don't need to bring their ID card. We're just, as I said, we're doing it for kind of just sixth graders so they can get something. And we bought them all Jaguar lanyards that they'll get when they come in. And then if you're not coming in, we'll have the lanyards available in the office. You can pick up anytime. All right, well, I will stay on for a couple more minutes and answer any questions, but I'm not gonna be presenting anything new. If you wanna log off and enjoy the rest of your evening, I wanna thank all of you as well. We're very excited. I was worried if we were not gonna come back this year, that it was just gonna go out with kind of everyone losing motivation trying to do Zoom the last 2 months. So the fact that we can have classes in person is going to definitely get some excitement going. And for those of you who are current eighth graders, as soon as we get some guidance from the district and from the county about promotion, we will, oh, look at that. Yes, I'm talking about promotion eighth graders the end of the year. As soon as we can get some guidance about what we can do, we'll definitely put something together. If you may not be aware or not know, but my wife is the athletic director at the high school. So she is probably the person in the district that's most well-versed on what we can do in terms of attendance from parents. So I will definitely be leaning on her to help us figure out what we can do. We typically have our promotion ceremonies outside, so we can definitely have some space. The current plan is to do a drive-through parade, but we're moving so quickly through the tiers that we can definitely look to have a ceremony put together if it's allowed. The date of promotion will be the last week of school. I think they were, I'm not positive, so don't quote me. Once we move into red, that's very much the conversation I'm going to be having with the district, is what we're allowed to do for promotion. And I know very much they're having many different conversations about the high school of what they're doing for graduation. All right, well, as I said, I'll stay on until everyone leaves. But thank you everyone for coming in. For those of you who are still on, does anyone have a question? I'm gonna go ahead and stop recording.